A 31-9 lead. At times you feel you're watching a performance, a Broadway show, a concert, rather than a basketball competition. We have been witnessing a special level that this game has really produced. We saw it last week against Cuba, and we have seen it throughout most of the week. And Venezuela severely overmatched in this contest. Pushing foul has been called on Luis Jimenez, who just came on.
Michael Jordan, who thrives on whatever the next challenge is for himself, really likes the idea of sliding over right now into the point guard position, running the show rather than be the focal point as far as scoring. Now it's his job to distribute the basketball, find open people.
Ewing with the rebound. And Jimenez able to come up with it, had it knocked away. It's a 3-on-1. Drexler from Pippen. And here's Jordan.
Well, I'm not trying to say that he forgot how to score. It's just that he's the point guard now on the floor.
13 unanswered, the latest run by the United States. Well, let's see, last Sunday, the U.S. won by 79 over Cuba. This has the makings of a larger shellacking. And the foul is called on Barkley.
Well, the U.S. team is so athletic that they just continue to crash the boards, get second and third opportunities, then Michael with a little extra something on it at the end.
And the backup point guard, Michael Jordan, will take a seat. Christian Laettner coming on for the first time.
So now the question is, who runs the show? Well, as he does so often for his Chicago team, Scottie Pippen will basically control the basketball along with Clyde Drexler.
And off the trap, Drexler came up with the steal. Pippen leading the break, finding Laettner. 35-9. The United States with 15 consecutive points. And Barkley not able to hold on. Venezuela has emptied its bench. And it's kept alive by Gonzalez. Gonzalez off the rebound. Gonzalez again. Rustin Gonzalez had 3 cracks at it. United States leading 35-11.
One of the things that continues to happen this week as Laettner faces up from outside, knocks down a 3. Each team comes in with its game plan, but as soon as the United States team gets up 8 or 10, it seems like they throw the game plan out the window. They're not willing to stick with it and try to keep the tempo in their favor. It's like first guy down, catches the ball, fire it up, and you're not going to beat the United States team that way.
Scottie Pippen with the pass for Patrick Ewing. The United States 40 and Venezuela 11. Yes, a similar pattern has taken place right throughout this tournament. Friday night, Puerto Rico actually hung in. That's a 3-pointer. Victor Diaz hitting the 3. Puerto Rico staying alive for what, the first 6-7 minutes, and then the United States put it out of reach with one of those bursts. And a 3 for Drexler to answer Diaz.
You could see Puerto Rico come out with the game plan. They went down low inside, got some fouls early on the big people from the United States team. They were very patient on offense, threw 5, 6, 7, 8 passes. They came down, made their shots, and played good defense. But suddenly, they got away from it, the game opened up, and then it was over.
Traveling violation is called. Timeout has been taken by Venezuela with 6:54 to go, first half. Yep. Although Magic's not on the floor now, that's the only thing.
Chuck soundbite, Stockton?
Stockton will save. Yeah, why don't we do that now? Because we save for the. Yeah, those guys will be in later. Yeah, guess there's something to talk about here.
Quinn got the wives in the stands too, remember?
Gromelsky, right? Jaramillo, huh? Merquiadis Jaramillo.
Jaramillo, my. What's the 18-11 rebounds? Remember, this is the shortest team.
Yeah, that's right. Also, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Huh?
It's unbelievable. This whole thing is unbelievable.
Yeah. I had some interesting conversation with Chuck and the staff before.
Anything could be.
They're really disappointed how the competition is just right away.
Yeah.
They don't fight at no challenge.
Say that.
Should get me into it.
Well, earlier this week, longtime Soviet coach Alexander Gomelsky was in attendance, checking out the action. You recall it was Gomelsky who coached the Soviet national team to the gold medal in Seoul back in 1988, beating the U.S. in the semifinals. We asked him in a 10-game series, how would his Soviet team fare against the American Dream Team?
I think we have 10 games, maybe 3-4 times my boys win. If we have same team who play in the Olympic game in Seoul 98, this is possible.
Whoa, 3 or 4 victories for that 88 Soviet team against this U.S. Olympic team? You buy that?
Well, first of all, Coach Gomelsky is a very, very good friend of mine. I would have to say that for them to win a game against this United States team, it would be a case of the U.S. looking past that team. When this U.S. team zeroes in on their opponent, they have the ability to destroy anybody they play. And even though that was an outstanding team that they had, and a number of them have gone on to play professionally and are outstanding players, this team could beat them 9 out of 10 or all 10 games.
Perhaps might give them one fluke victory, certainly in a one-game situation, but I don't see more than that. As you indicated, if this U.S. team is motivated, I would doubt, aside from, give the benefit of the doubt, one fluke win.
But you know what? If I was coaching that team, I'd probably say the same thing, that we'd have a chance to win 3 or 4.
Oh, absolutely.
You never know. It might be a reunion someday.
Yes, that's right. Incidentally, Alexander Gomelsky said he was recently contacted by the Russian Federation to coach the unified team, but he turned it down because the Federation wanted him to do it for free. He's become a capitalist, and he is currently living in the San Diego area.
And we'll be coaching still a combined team of former Soviet players and some U.S. players. We'll play a small schedule against outstanding college teams next year.
Nice setup for Drexler. United States with a 46-14 lead, 5:40 remaining in this first half. When you talk to some of the coaches of the United States squad, you get the idea that they were disappointed that they weren't tested more severely here, that the competition was not better. It will be stronger in Barcelona with the U.S. having to go up against clubs like Croatia, Lithuania.
No question that the staff understands their most difficult job will be when they regroup to Charles Barkley, when they regroup and bring them back to Monte Carlo after this little 2-week vacation that they have coming up, to try and get them focused back in on the idea that the competition is going to be much, much better when they move on to the next round or to the Olympics in Barcelona. And getting these guys focused in after what they've done this week is not going to be easy.
And the foul is called. Patrick Ewing raising his hand.
Sometimes you draw it up on the board and it works to perfection.
Just under 5 minutes to go in this first half. Venezuela came out and missed their first 10 shots from the field. Rustin Gonzalez tied up and he was fouled. Mike, you look at the U.S. squad, is there any weakness that you can detect?
Yeah, I would be concerned if I were Chuck and the staff about the defensive point guard pressure. Seriously, they will face teams who put the ball on the floor extremely well. Players such as Marciulionis, who plays for the Golden State Warriors here, in the NBA. And those type of players will continue to try to beat them off the dribble. Magic Johnson has had problems in the past guarding smaller guards that put it on the floor. With Stockton out, there is no real defensive player that can get after the smaller, quick guards and stop them from penetrating. And then obviously the dribble penetration, the concern of fouls, etc. So I'd say that'd be the one problem.
10 apiece for Drexler and Malone. Ewing able to reject. Once again, the hook thrown up by Palacios. Just under 4 minutes to go in this first half. Leitner finishes it off. And the United States now leads 52-18. For the U.S., particularly as we look at this first half, it's been a week of playing the role of the Harlem Globetrotters to various forms of Washington General-like opposition. Although the level of play by the international teams has greatly improved, which, as we mentioned, we'll probably see over in Barcelona. The competition should be more difficult there. Leitner, and the United States leads 54-20.
Keep in mind, because of some of the things that have happened in the other countries, such as the splitting up of the Soviet Union and Yugoslavia, you have 2 and 3 teams now that are very strong and powerful from, let's say, the former Soviet Union, qualifying, knocking teams out like Italy that used to make it, Germany, because of the only X number of slots that qualified.
But still, a victory over the U.S. would be a major upset. Okay, although he's not playing though. Okay.
The official tournament programs featuring information.
Yeah, let me just hear it. So we show him at the start, right? I mean, show him first. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, 7 points, 4 assists.
TR?
So quick, and I found that out in practice. That's what you miss. You miss defensively. You don't have to now make a quicker drop or whatever that case may be when practicing against John Stockton or Bobby Hurley. And that's the side that you miss. Other than that, offensively and the things passing, I'm right there. But defensively, that's what really hurt you.
You go back to when Magic was playing for the Lakers, they always tried to take him off those smaller, quick point guards and match up differently because the smaller, quick guards give him problems, always have. Man is 6'9", he's 5'11", 6'1", so playing against those type guys, it's a problem, and that's a concern down the road for Chuck and the staff.
Mike, you mentioned Bobby Hurley because Hurley of Duke, one of the players on that collegiate squad that helped get the United States ready prior to coming to Portland.
The developmental team, which played so well against this team, in fact, beat them in the first scrimmage that they had last week in preparation. And a thought that Chuck Daly mentioned just prior to the game, he would love to bring that developmental team to Monte Carlo and have them practice against this U.S. team. It would be his stiffest competition to this point.
9th turnover committed by Venezuela, giving the ball back to the United States. Scottie Pippen and Clyde Drexler now in the backcourt. Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, and Christian Laettner up front. Gonzalez knocking it away from Drexler. Sam Shepard handling, checking back onto the floor, and once again a turnover. Sloppy play by Venezuela. A reminder coming up on the Kraft halftime report. Dan Hicks, the newest member of our NBC Sports team, will have results from the European Olympic qualifying tournament, and he'll take a look at this U.S. Olympic team and how it compares to some of the great teams in other sports over the years. That is coming up at halftime. Dan Hicks on the Kraft halftime report.
Number 11.
Herrera called for his second foul, and Charles Barkley will go to the line. Barkley averaging 16 per game to lead the United States in scoring, shooting 58%. 2:24 remaining in this first half. Today, as it turns out, is Independence Day in Venezuela. They won independence from Spain back in 1810. Most of the country watching this game, at least they were watching earlier. It started 4 p.m. Venezuela time, and Julio Toro, the coach, says he's already been told by government officials no matter what should happen here today, the team will be given a hero's welcome at the airport when it arrives, with politicians, civic leaders on hand. They expect a crowd that will exceed 50,000. This Venezuela's first appearance ever in Olympic competition in basketball. Basketball beginning in Venezuela back in 1935. Off the steal, Olivares through the layup. Shepard gives it up for Herrera. Well, that's the play of the half for Venezuela.
It makes their highlight tape.
United States with a 57-22 lead. Venezuela began becoming competitive in basketball in the 70s when the Venezuelan Professional League was formed. They played a 20-game schedule. They're up to a 42-game schedule now.
Well, Venezuela is showing that it can get into passing lanes, and then trying to pull the slam dunk off doesn't quite work. But then the pass and conversion at the offensive end.
And Charles Barkley will look to complete the three-point play. Charles has 8 points. The high men, Drexler and Malone, with 10. Gonzalez leads Venezuela with 8. A minute 20 to go in the first half. Another turnover. However, a travel called on Ewing, so they give it right back.
This team has tremendous flexibility. I'm just not quite sure that Chuck Daly and his staff want Patrick Ewing in the middle of the fast break trying to lead it.
Patrick Ewing jammed his right thumb last week during practice. It was expected he'd miss 3 games, missed the opener against Cuba, but came right back in the second game. Here's Scottie Pippen. Thus, with a minute to go in the first half, the United States leads 62-22. And a foul is called. It's on Ewing. That is his second.
Patrick just saying hello to Paul Herrera, reminding that he'll see him again next season.
Patrick Ewing, a member of the 1984 United States gold medal winning team in Los Angeles. Carl Herrera, Venezuela's leading scorer, averaging 20 per game, has only 2 points thus far today. Member of the Houston Rockets, as we have mentioned. He had a 1-year deal, and he told us yesterday he'll begin contract negotiations with the Rockets shortly. Usually a small forward. He's been playing center in this tournament, and he's played well, although having his difficulties here in the first half. Gonzalez now with 10. United States leads 62-24. Drexler from Pippen.
Herrera had played well enough, in fact, to beat out Buck Johnson for the starting small forward position on the Houston Rockets last season. Then, unfortunately, came up with an injury and had to sit for a long time down the stretch run.
And he's developed that nice touch from some 15 feet away that you just saw. Clyde Drexler, yes, and it counts. Drexler leads the way with 14. The foul committed by Herrera.
Well, it's nothing unusual for Scottie Pippen to dish off and find open people. He was the leading assist man for the Chicago Bulls. And Clyde, in front of his hometown fans, put on a little show.
Clyde has hit 6 of 7 from the field. The United States shooting just under 70%. They're 27 for 40. Venezuela only 12 of 44. They're under 30% from the field. Final seconds of the half. Oliveros not able to hit. Estaba blocked by Ewing, and time has run out. That came after the horn. Well, Charles Barkley got the crowd going, but it will not count. The United States at halftime leading by 41. They led Cuba by 40 last Sunday and won by 79. It's the United States 67 and Venezuela 26. Let's take another look at with time winding down as Barkley was able to unleash from the center court area. Charles getting it off, but time had clearly expired. So the high point man of the first half, Clyde Drexler with 15. 10 points for Karl Malone. The United States with the enormous lead. We'll be back in just a moment. Okay, yep. It's a good half.
John.
One, which is the biggest lead. Well, no, if you want to get into that, what was Chuck trying to accomplish today last game? But, you know what I'm saying? Instead of talk to
Mike, that's a good question.
I got about 5 or 6 things, Quinn.
It's basically in a game like this where it's so out of hand. What can you accomplish, right?
Yep, that's a good question.
Yeah, what can you accomplish?
Yeah, very good question. You don't think that looks good?
Hey, Quinn?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Q.
Yo.
Is that Arsenio down there?
Pardon? What'd you say?
Okay. I thought it was. Yeah, okay.
Tom, we have that Jordan thing too, you know. Yep.
Here we go, guys. I'm here with Coach Chuck Daly. Coach, what do you try to get accomplished in a game like this? You know you're going to get a victory.
Yeah, we tried to set some individual goals today. One, try not to give up any 3 points and come out with defensive intensity. Plus, I think we want to send a little bit of a message overseas and let people know exactly how good we are.
Well, I don't think there's any question that this is a very good team. Good luck to you like you need it out here.
Yeah, they're playing very well, and if we keep our defensive intensity and run, we'll be fine.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Yeah. no throw back and forth, though, huh?
Don't forget, we still got this shirt, too, guys. Thank you.
There was no throw, though. How do I do this?
We got the Venezuelan players right now taking pictures on the court with asking U.S. guys to take pictures with them.
And you should, the photo opportunity thing, too, we have, right?
I think they got a little camera.
What are we doing here? Let's go over this. Let's do this. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm going to say let's go to Quinn. He mentions he's with Chuck, so I won't. Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Are we still doing the highlights?
Yeah. I'll mention after coming out of Chuck with a 2 of 11 3-pointers.
Guys, John Stockton's wife is here with his kid sitting on her lap. Nada. Hey, just letting you know who's here, sir. I'm just letting you know. I'm back. I was just letting you know who was here.
Appreciate it.
I'm walking.
Today's halftime highlights, brought to you by Phillips Lighting.
Back in Portland, a look at some of the highlights during the course of the first half.
Well, Magic Johnson jumped out early, got 7 quick points, and basically because the defense was concerned about the perimeter and left the inside wide open. Defensively, the U.S. team was just outstanding. Holding for 27% shooting. David Robinson with 3 block shots himself in that half. And then whether it was Michael Magic or Scottie Pippen that was in charge of running the show, they found open teammates and distributed the ball very well. Pippen leading the U.S. team in the first half with 5 assists.
And once again, the United States with a dominating half in terms of,
so we it's our last practice. We're not going to be together for another 2 weeks. I don't have that many days once we get to Monte Carlo.
Traditional now before every game against the U.S. Olympic team, they sit down and pose for a photo, something for the opposition to take home to the kids and the family.
How about this? You find this a little bit unusual at halftime rather than warming up. The Venezuela guys have a little camera. They're running around asking the U.S. players, will you stand next to me and take a picture for my scrapbook once I get back home to Venezuela? Just a little bit different mentality.
A couple of members of the United States coaching staff mentioned that they know that they will be considered to be serious opposition when a team comes into a game, and I'm sure it will happen in Barcelona where we will not see the photo opportunities where a team comes in and does not request a photo be taken.
Not quite the respect factor that these other teams have had so far for the U.S. team.
It is a 41-point lead as the second half gets underway, and a rare turnover by the United States. Escobar, Shepard with it. Shepard off the drive, and it's tipped home by Kochuk. The United States opening with a front line of David Robinson, Karl Malone, and Chris Mullin. These are the starters. Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan in the backcourt. Here's Mullin. Chris Mullin in the tournament shooting 65%. He's averaging 15 points per game. He has 5 this afternoon. United States leading 69-28. Herrera off the dribble. Jordan. Robinson. He had the 3, he passed on it and gave it up.
Well, that is the 15th 56th dunk in this tournament for the United States team. If you total the other 9 teams and their dunks, they have a total of 56 also. So the U.S. team is tied the rest of the tournament teams in total dunks with that last one.
Gabriel Estaba hitting from long range. Here's Malone. Yes. So Karl Malone with 12 points, and the United States is up 73 to 31. Dennis Rollins, pretty emotional bunch. They were beaten by Puerto Rico earlier this week, and